Welcome back. Donald Trump about to take the stage in Jackson, Mississippi, where he will make his case to black voters there. But Hillary Clinton is highlighting the Trump campaign's ties to a far right-wing movement that focuses on white identity. Some of the rhetoric downright racist. It's called the alternative right. Our Brian Stelter is out front.
While Donald Trump says he's seeking minority voters.
And I think we're going to do great with African Americans and with the Hispanic.
Hillary Clinton is trying to tie Trump to the so-called alt-right, a movement often associated with white nationalism.
Propelling the term alt-right into the national spotlight.
Explain to us what alt-right is.
The answer depends on who you ask.
Which is just sort of a dressed-up version of the American neo-Nazi movement, to be honest.
The mainstream media is fond of portraying the alt-right as a mob of unruly, racist, bigoted, sexist, uneducated white males.
Breitbart.com, the website shared by Steve Bannon, has proudly led the charge. Last month, Bannon told Mother Jones, "We are the platform for the alt-right." Now Bannon is the Trump campaign CEO, and Clinton is seizing on the connection, calling the alt-right disturbing and extreme. So what is it exactly?
It's about us having a home, a place where we can be with people like ourselves.
This video blogger says the movement, which started online several years ago, is about ethnic nationalism. Race, specifically the sense that white identity is under assault in America, fuels the alt-right, which stands opposed to both progressive and mainstream conservative thought. Supporters say they're not racist or divisive, but that is what some critics charge.
I spent 20 years trying to say that, conservatives are not racist. We are not, misogynist. This is not what we stand for. And now suddenly we have the Republican nominee who has become associated with some of these darkest elements of American politics.
Trump is a favorite of the mostly young, mostly white men who identify as alt-right.
We cannot afford to be so politically correct anymore.
Nativism and even racial separatism are themes of alt-right websites that embrace Trump. But some of the loudest adherents say they are just being provocative. Milo Yiannopoulos has become a face of the movement through social media stunts, though he's now been banned from Twitter. He is cheering on Trump.
He represents the best hope we have of smashing political correctness apart, of breaking open, all of the taboos, stuff you're not supposed to say, allowing real debate to be had again.
Some of the supporters of this mostly online movement say they're bringing new energy, new passion to a party that needs it. But that passion on these fringe websites, fringier than Breitbart, does sometimes come across as sexist, racist, and anti-Semitic. And Jim, I'm sure that's what Clinton will bring up tomorrow.
No question. Brian Stelter, please stay with us. Out front now, CNN's chief political correspondent, Dana Bash. Boris Epstein, he's senior advisor to the Trump campaign, and Karine Jean-Pierre. She's the national spokesperson for MoveOn.org. She's also a Hillary Clinton supporter. Boris, I want to begin with you. Respond to Brian's piece there. You've seen this group. They say they want a country where they can be with people like themselves. Pretty clear they're talking about white people.
So there's absolutely no connection between whatever these groups are and the Trump campaign. Zero connection whatsoever. The piece was maybe interesting in reporting on some particular websites, but there is absolutely no connection. The Trump campaign has repeatedly disavowed any racist statements, any racist, any white supremacists, so on and so on and so on. And if we want to talk about movements, Donald Trump is a movement. And he's a movement to make America secure, make America successful again.
Does he disavow the alt-right movement?
He disavows racists, white supremacists. This alt-right movement is a term that's coined by the left to, again, attack Donald Trump in some way. And really today, to take the point away, to take the attention away from the horrible week that Hillary Clinton is having.
Brian, you're reporting, and I want Karine to
Clinton is using this to take attention away from some of her own controversies. It makes sense for her to be giving this speech tomorrow. It's not with our help, however. She is choosing to give this speech. The alt-right term is almost a decade old, but it needs to gain attention because Donald Trump has hired Steve Bannon, the head of Breitbart, to run his campaign. And that website and other websites that are fringier than Breitbart do provoke racial resentment. It's not just about racism, it's about racial resentment.
Other websites and Donald Trump, any at all, relationship between Donald Trump, the campaign, and any of those other websites you talk about. None at all. And you know that, Brian. You know there's no
Corinne, do
relationship.
you buy that? Do you buy that
Here's
defense?
the thing, Breitbart is known for being a dumpster fire for racism, for sexism, for all the types of hatred that is connected to the Trump campaign, because he now has hired the CEO of Breitbart to now be the CEO of his campaign. There is a connection, Boris,
Mr.
and
Banner's
it's
just one
clear.
individual,
And you
he's
know
part of a
what?
team in
And
the
you know what?
campaign.
For her speech tomorrow, she doesn't have to go far. All she has to do is click on Breitbart.com and look at all the hateful headlines.
It's just a website. Mr. Banner is a businessman. He also worked at Goldman Sachs, and Goldman Sachs
look,
gave a lot of
who
money
you-
to
who
Hillary
you
Clinton.
Who you choose to run your campaign says a lot
So
about
let's
how
talk
you're
about-
going
let's
to
talk about the whole
govern,
team.
how you're going to govern as a president.
I just wanted to add in here that I've spoken to a source who's familiar with the speech, who made a very specific point about it being broader than race.
Right.
You know, obviously this you talked about, and you've all talked about the allegations of having sort of racial hatred underlying a lot of this, but she's going to talk about hatred more broadly that she will insist is not just about Bannon or about Breitbart. What the key thing that I'm told to look for tomorrow is, as you can imagine, Hillary Clinton to tie that into Donald Trump, to say that he is a mirror.
She's going to try to do that.
But well, of course, but specifically to say it's not about Bannon, it's about Donald Trump.
Let me ask you about this, because this
And
is
she's
relevant,
wrong.
because it relates also to the immigration debate. This is just coming in. Donald Trump gave a town hall tonight, this on Fox News with Sean Hannity. As you know, for months, Donald Trump has said that anyone here illegally in the United States, illegal immigrants, undocumented workers, will be deported. Here's what he's saying in part, quote, tonight, as he changes that position. I'll read it. I've had very strong people come up to me, really great people come up to me, and they've said, Mr. Trump, I love you, but to take a person who's been here 15 or 20 years and throw them and their family out, it's so tough, Mr. Trump. I have it all the time. It's a very hard thing. Boris, yet again, it sounds like he's backing off what was a key part of his campaign message.
Well, the key part remains, and that's that when he becomes president, all criminals, illegal immigrants who are criminals, will be deported. And under Barack Obama, under the Obama-Clinton
that's different from what he's saying.
administration,
Now he's saying,
300,000 criminals have remained in this country, illegal immigrants.
But that's
who
a
are
different
criminals.
point, because initially he said anybody who was here illegally, not just ones who have
As far
broken.
as this point, he said throughout the campaign that he will make sure that once we get out all the illegal immigrants who are criminals, then he will approach the rest of the illegal immigrants in a humane manner that's in line with
Sounds
the
like he's
laws
saying
now in the
inside,
books
but that
and
they
the
can stay in the
Constitution.
country.
That's not what he's saying. No, he's saying that the policy is being determined as we speak, but again, it will be in line with the laws
A
on the
person
books
who's been here for
and the
15, 20 years
Constitution.
to throw them out and their family
Yes.
out, it's so tough,
Would be
Mr. Trump.
tough.
I mean, is there any other way to interpret those comments?
The way you look at it is that that's one of the considerations. Of course, there are families. You want to treat people humanely. He said that from the beginning of his campaign.
He did. I went back and looked at an interview I did in July of 2015, a month after he announced. And he did talk about humanely. However, you're exactly right, Jim. He talked about the fact that everybody will have to leave. Mass deportation.
And this is different.
And, and then eventually he called it a deportation force. He said the good ones, these are his quotes, and the bad ones. The good ones, he said, would be able to come back in, and not the bad ones. This very much appears to be different about letting people stay, which is what so many of his Republican opponents in the primaries supported and got hammered for.
Corinne, I want to give you a chance to respond.
Look, I think it's just bigoted doublespeak, right? He doubles down with the group, his base, and says, hey, you know what? We're going to build a wall. We're going to deport undocumented workers, 11 million of them who have been living in the shadow. And then he turns around. He's like, oh, but we're going to do it in a humane way, because he's winking and looking at the base that should be on the Republican side, that he's hemorrhaging, which is the suburban moms, which is the educated white voters. So he's trying to do two things at once. But
this is a point Charles Blow made in the New York Times this morning.
Exactly.
You led with the word bigotry, but then you gave no examples of bigotry. This is a candidate right now who he's saying is he's been on the campaign trail. He's been talking to people. He's been experiencing the campaign trail. Part of it is press conferences. What's the last time Hillary Clinton gave one? And then, hold on, let me finish now. And he's sticking to the key of his policy, which is deporting illegal immigrants who have committed crimes. And then he's saying that the rest of the policy will absolutely
have to leave it there. Apologies. Boris, Corinne, thanks very much, and Brian and Dana, my colleagues here as well. Out front next, we're standing by for Donald Trump, about to rally his supporters in Mississippi, plus the breaking news.